Hey Cam, I got this week's hands.
Okay.
Here's your
What is PLO?
PLO. It's you get 4 cards, but you have to use 2 out of your hand.
Okay, whatever. I'll do some research on it.
Okay, cool. And then we'll film in a little bit. All right. Sounds good.
Okay.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Raising the Nuts. Today is part 2 of the trip down to AC, but a couple announcements real quick first. In the last video, I asked for your feedback on that $300 high hand. You guys left tons of comments, tons of feedback. Really appreciate that. I think the majority said to include it in the challenge, so I think that's what we're gonna do. There was also some other good suggestions, buying these kids some stuff, giving it to them. We'll definitely do that as well. Second, huge announcement. Very, very excited about this announcement. Going to be hosting my first ever meetup game, August 24th, down at Maryland Live. Love playing at Maryland Live. I've done a few vlogs there before. If you guys are interested in getting a room right there, it's a Saturday night, you can reach out to me. I'll leave an email for Jason down at Maryland Live. I'll leave his email address. You have to send him an email to reserve a room at the Live Lofts. It's going to be awesome. Hopefully you guys can make it out. We're going to be playing 1-3 with a $400 max. And it's going to be exciting. All right, so let's get back into where we left off last week, heading down to Borgata for some PLO action. Good morning. When we last left off, it was about 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I had just finished up the Play Every Hand session here at Harris. After that, I ate lunch at McCormick and Schmick's and played online while I was eating lunch. Came up to the room, played about 5-hour session online, which went pretty well, and then decided to head over to Borgata to check out what games were going on there. Put my name on the list for a bunch of games. There was a 25-25 PLO game going that was full, and some 5-10 no limit that was full. So put my name on the list, went over and had some dinner, and then when I came back, 10-10 PLO had started, and it was playing 4-handed, so I decided to sit down in that game, buy in for $4,000, get some PLO action here on the channel.
He got you, Dad! What's up, everyone? I'm back. And this is what I've learned about pot, limit, Omaha. Number 1, it's called The Great Game. Number 2, every hand looks pretty and has 50% equity on every street. Number 3, you can only bet the size of the pot, and it's fun to say pop, 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 pop.
We're actually playing 10-10-20 with a mandatory straddle, so game is playing pretty big, and first hand a note comes up pretty early on in the session. I opened at $75 on the button with King, 10-6 with 1 suit. The big blind and the straddle both call. We take the flop 3 ways. The flop comes down Jack 2-3 with 2 spades. I don't have a flush draw. I do have 1 spade in my hand. They check to me. I decide to bet $150. The big blind folds and the straddle makes the call. Turns an offsuit 7. He checks. I could continue betting here for value as I can protect a lot of hands, but against a lot of hands, but I don't think I'm pushing too much equity, so I just decided to check back and play some rivers. River card's an offsuit 8, and my opponent goes ahead and bets $375, and I just wasn't believing him. Figured I'd look him up early here and see what he was up to, so I go ahead and make the call, and he says we're good. I turn over my hand, and we ship the first pot that we play. Not too long after that, the game's 5-handed now. There's a limp, and I make it $80 with ace-5. 3 aces with a 5 and hearts. It gets to the big blind. He goes ahead and put in a 3-bet to 350. The limper cold calls the 350 with 750 back. And to start the hand, we're about 4,400 effective with the 3-better. I decide to go ahead and put in the 4-bet, which I can make it $1,400. Big blind makes the call. The limper calls all in. So we have a really big pot here going to a flop, looking for a favorable flop. The flop is anything but that, as it comes King Jack 7 with 2 diamonds. So a flop that should probably hit the big blind's range pretty hard. And he goes ahead and open ships it for about $3,000, and the action's on us. So this is where I want to get your input, guys. This is what we did in the previous episode where you guys told me what you would do in this situation. So I'm interested to hear what you guys think we should do. Should we call off here with just aces? We do have the ace of diamonds in our hand, but we don't have a flush draw. We don't have any backdoor draws. And it's a $3,000 bet. And the pot is pretty sizable. So let me know in the comments below what you guys would do in this spot. And I'm looking forward to hear some really good PLO players break down what you think the ranges are going to look like and what our hand looks like against those ranges. And then I'll tell you guys what I did in the next vlog. Next hand, there's a limp again, and I make it $80 with ace, king, queen, 8 with ace high clubs. The big blind goes ahead and puts in 3-bet to 300, folds back to us, and we make the call. He's got about 2,100 behind. The flop comes down queen 7 deuce with 2 clubs, so we flop the top pair with the nut flush draw. Pretty good flop for us. Big blind leads for 500. I decide to just ship it in there, and he makes the call pretty quickly.
All right, 50% you're going to win, 50% he's going to win.
We run it one time, turns an ace, river's a 6, and I show my hand and we're good. So scooping that nice pot. It was at this time when the game really started to go off the rails. It started to fill up as some of the players came over from the 25-25 PLO game. They were drinking, they were having fun. It was a great environment to be in. Lots of gambling going on, lots of multi-way pots, and just crazy action going on. There's 2 limps, and I make it $120 with ace, king, 8, 9 double suited. And there's 2 callers, and we take the flop 3 ways. The flop comes down queen, 5, 6 with 2 spades. So we flop the nut flush draw with a gut shot, and one of our opponents leads into us for $225. I make the call, the player behind me folds. So we take the turn heads up. The turn's an offsuit 10, so we add another gut shot to go with our hand, and our opponent goes for the pot button. So he bets, I believe it was $720 on the turn. Can't go anywhere. The player still has about $2,100 behind. So we have a lot of implied odds, obviously, if we hit our hand, and we can also bluff some other river cards. That happens on the 9 and offsuit 9. So we make a pair, but that pair is probably not going to be any good. And when our opponent checks it over to us, I think we have a hand that should go for a bluff. So I just decided to pull the trigger and jam him in for $2,100. He doesn't think too long, and he makes a pretty quick fold, so we get that one through. Nice to get a big bluff through. He said he didn't have much anyway. I don't know if a pair of 9s was going to take it down or not, but nice to get the big bluff through in that spot. Last hand of note, kind of ridiculous. At this point, the game is completely off the rails. The other player opens to 75, and there's 5 callers when it gets to me in the small blind. And I have ace, ace, 10, 2 double suited. Now, at this point, I believe I was about 5K effective with the opener, who was one of the guys that was drinking but not getting too out of line. The rest of the players all have 2,500 or more. Most of them have 4K plus. So it becomes kind of interesting whether I should 3-bet in this spot or just flat. I think there's arguments for both things. I think if I 3-bet, it's very likely that we take the flop 7 ways for 600 or whatever it is that I pot to. So I end up just deciding to flat. The big blind actually folds, and we see a flop 7 ways. And when you have aces in PLO and you have a 7-way flop, and the flop comes ace 7-7 with 2 hearts, it feels like a dream to you, right? It's just like the best thing that could ever happen.
Okay, we found a situation where you're going to win 100% of the time.
Even better when I check and one of the players bets $150 and another one of them calls. The player who bet $150 has about $2,500, and the player who called has about $5,000. I could obviously raise here, but I decided to just call, as I don't think that my opponents will fold anyway later on, with flushes and hands like that can improve. So I go ahead and just make the call. When you have this spot, there's one card that you don't want to see, and that's a 7, because it's very likely that my opponent has a 7 in their hand. Well, unfortunately, in this case, the turn was a 7.
Oh my God, are you kidding me? It's a 7. What kind of game is this?
So I check, and the action ends up checking around on the turn. The river is an offsuit jack, and the player checks, and it's on me again. And I don't know if I can get too much value, and I think it's just pretty likely that one of these guys has a 7. So I end up just checking, and the other player checks. And it turns out the other player did have a 7, and he actually had ace 7. So pretty bad beat there. The player who had $5,000 had ace 7 on ace 7-7, where we have aces. And he pulls out the 1-outer. We didn't lose, obviously, any more money, but I think it's pretty likely that we get his whole $5,000 stack in this hand if the turn is not a 7. But it was a 7. What can you do?
How is that possible to lose that hand? I hate this game. Just kidding. This is the best game ever.
Interesting enough, the very next hand, that same player got it all in pre-flop 3 ways. One guy had 2,500, and then these 2 guys each had 5,000. He got it all in pre-flop 3 ways with ace, king, king, 10. And it held. They ran it twice, and it held on both boards to ship the $12,500 pot. So nice run of hands there for him. I ended up racking up shortly after that. So it was 2:30 in the morning. I had been playing since 6:30 in the morning that day. I started online at 6:30 in the morning, played the play every hand session, played online throughout the day. I was playing online at the table while I was playing the PLO game a little bit as well. Played at dinner. I just played poker all day long. It was a great day. I ended up cashing out of this game, in for 4,000, out for 5,100. So a little bit of a disappointing result after some of the big hands that I did have and some of the hands I didn't talk about on camera here. So now it's 8 o'clock in the morning. I went to bed at 3:30 in the morning. So didn't get a lot of sleep, and I'm heading home for a little bit to catch Andrew's last T-ball game, and then we'll be back here to grind some more. All right, back here, Sunday morning. pretty tired. Meant to update throughout the day yesterday, but ended up just playing lots of poker instead of updating. After we last talked on here, I played an online session from about 2 o'clock, I believe, until 7:30 or so. Went and had dinner, and then checked out the games at Borgata. The PLO games didn't look too good, so decided that I was going to take it easy also just because I was so tired from not getting much sleep. So decided to head over to check out a new casino that I haven't been to yet on the channel. Ocean's Casino, very nice property. Lots of people there. The poker room was kind of out in the middle of the casino, which was kind of weird, but it was good for foot traffic. And I wasn't going to do the play every hand challenge just because, like I said, I was exhausted and I really couldn't focus on playing every hand. So hopped into a brand new 2-5 game. One thing that's a little frustrating is the game's 10-handed. In general, full rank poker, you just kind of have to play very, very tight in order to be profitable. When there's 9 other people at the table, it's really hard to get too out of line and get too creative. So it was okay for me. I just decided I was going to play pretty tight, obviously, and then to supplement that, I would play online at the same time because I can play on my phone. So popped up 3 tables of PLO on my phone. Fortunately, first hand comes up very quickly into the session, and it's apparent there's going to be a lot of action in this game. There's a couple limps, and I may get $30 with pocket queens. Player in the cutoff, who had already 3-bet once in the first few hands, 3-bets to around $100 with 300 behind. I go ahead and just put them all in. The board runs out. He calls, obviously. The board runs out 6, 4, 3, 5, Jack, and I show my hand, and we're good. So off to a great start here. As the session went on, my PLO games online progressively got a little bit more crazier, so I was paying way more attention to those than I was to the actual game. Not too long after that, player opens to $20. I flat with pocket 3s on the button. The same player from the previous hand goes ahead and puts in a 3-bet to $80. The original raiser calls, and I go ahead and call, closing the action, looking to flop a set. That we do. Flop comes 8-6-3 with 2 spades, and the big blind leads out for 125. The player in middle position folds. I go ahead and put in a raise. Figure I can get stacks in here pretty quickly here against what is probably an overpair, and he has about 1,000 to start the hand. So I go ahead and put in the raise at 300. He doesn't think too long and jams. I obviously call, and the board runs out clean for us, and we scoop yet another big pot about 20 minutes into the session. Around 1:15, 1:30, I believe it was, my phone started to die, so I felt like that was probably the time to go since I wouldn't be able to continue playing my games. I racked up, ended up winning a little under $1,400 for the session, which was obviously a very nice, smooth, calm session in about 3.5 hours of play. Came home and continued playing online until about 3:15 in the morning, and when I finally decided to call it a night and head to bed. Overall, this weekend was kind of like a flashback weekend for me of coming down to AC and just playing tons and tons of poker. Friday, I played 16 hours or so total between live and online. And then yesterday, I think I was somewhere around 13 hours. So 29 hours in 2 days. Profitable trip overall, both online and live, so that was good. And obviously just fun to be in that just poker grind mindset. Happy to head home to the kids, though. Today's Father's Day. So happy Father's Day to all you guys out there. And we'll see what's going on when we get back. Oh my god, it's like a new... Wait, hold on a second.
A monitor!
You paint the walls too?
And look,
oh my
there's
god.
we got you a monitor. Oh wait, Dad.
Oh my god, there's a monitor there.
And I want to show you the most important thing.
Holy crap. What?
Don't lift it up too high. And then...
Oh my god, this looks amazing.
And then...
This is crazy.
And then look.
Oh my god, I didn't even see that.
It's recording you right now.
And then...
Oh my god. This is really
There's a
my God, this is amazing. So I just got home from AC and I walked into my office and this is my Father's Day gift. The redone office. It's unbelievable. Jody did an incredible job. Walls were painted. Got a brand new standing desk here that goes up and down. New monitor, curved monitor. All these shelves are new. This is Andy's hat up here. That's awesome. Everything is... We got the lighting up here for the videos. It's just unbelievable. She did such a good job, and I'm so happy. All right, everybody, thank you for watching as always. Appreciate all of your support and comments. Please let me know what you guys would do in that PLO hand, and we'll reveal the results next week. For now,
make sure you subscribe, like, comment down below, give us a big thumbs up. Bye, YouTube. It's not YouTube.
We got a future president on our hands. Are you gonna be the president?
I'll be the president of all you, and I will rule the world. I'll be the president.
You're gonna be the president? Okay. All done?
I'll be the good president. I can't be the. And this is what I've learned about pot limit. This is what I learned about limit on the rule of